Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday today. If you're watching this later, thank you for joining us on whatever day of the week it is. I'm Jess from Blue Nine Pet Products, and I'll be kind of hosting this webinar alongside Caitlin, my colleague here. So I'll let her say hello.
Hi guys, I'm Caitlin. I'm also work with Blue Nine Pet Products here with Jess, and we're excited to talk to you guys today about how we can help you guys in pet boarding and daycare.
Yeah, so pet boarding and daycare is an interesting industry. It's definitely where my expertise and my experience comes from. I managed large scale dog hotels and daycares down in South Florida before I joined the Blue Nine team. And I joined the Blue Nine team because I was using all of the climb and balance harness products in my facilities. So it was kind of a natural progression for me career-wise, but that's part of where I want to chat with you guys today on practical uses of the climbs throughout your facilities, ways that you can use our products to increase your revenue, to have value-added services for your customers, and to really just help with overall dog management and behavior as well. Because the climbs at their core are training tables. So when we implement them in a pet boarding and daycare space, what does that do for the behavior of the dogs that are in play groups or in their enrichment activities and stuff like that. So feel free to ask any questions if you're here live with us. And if you are watching this later, feel free to pop us an email. We'll have our contact info at the end, and send us your questions. We are happy to answer them for you.
I think we mostly covered that one. Forgot to move the
Yeah,
slide. Sorry, guys.
you're good. We'll say it again. Thanks for joining us wherever you are. So enrichment, that's the big buzzword. Everybody knows it. Pet parents are asking for it. But what really is business, or what is enrichment from a business perspective? And it's a couple things on what it does, right? So from a dog level, enrichment builds confidence, improves those problem behaviors, increases a dog's focus. And what does that mean to the pet parent? It means that it adds visible behavior modification in a positive way when your dogs get picked up from daycare. So if you have a dog that was not just physically stimulated, but also mentally stimulated as well, they're going to be a lot calmer in those evening hours versus those dogs that just had like all day play, running around. And then when mom and dad come to pick them up from daycare at the end of the day, they're still bouncing on the end of their leash and they're just kind of going crazy. And then they go home and they're like, I still had to play fetch. I still had to do all these things. Why isn't my dog more tired after daycare? So, from a training perspective, we know that increasing a dog's mental stimulation is really where we're going to start to see the dogs kind of mellow out in their behavior. Dogs live so much in their body, so opposite of humans, where we live so much more in our head. And we need to bring them back into their head so that the body stays calm. Um, and Caitlin, feel free to elaborate on that if that didn't make sense the way that I explained it. But that's really where the climb becomes kind of the secret sauce in your daycare compared to your competitors that may not be using enrichment or training within their regular daycare and boarding programs. We're adding structure because it is that training tool. The revenue generator and the marketing asset, we're going to get into a little bit deeper. As far as a marketing asset, it's exactly that. Like, hey, we offer enrichment level training as part of our daycare and boarding facility. And when we say training from a daycare and boarding perspective, you don't need to go out and hire a dog trainer to operate those services. These are things that can be done with your existing daycare and boarding staff. We're teaching very, very simple, get on your platform and spin around in a circle while using a food or a treat lure, or food or a toy lure, I should say. And just a secondary little bit of sales. Blue Nine does have a trick of the month club that is already packaged up, has all the staff training stuff. You can use that and then sell a service to your customers. We're going to teach your dog one new trick a month, and then that becomes part of your value add service add on of it's an additional $25 on your month of daycare, but where your dog is going to have a flashy new party trick. And then using the products as a revenue generator. If you have retail space already in your pet boarding and daycare facility, it's really easy to just add the products that you're already using within your facility to your retail space. You're purchasing them at wholesale prices with us. You resell them to your customers at MSRP. And then that way, a little bit on the products as well. And also, when customer, if you don't have a retail space set up in your boarding facility already, being able to let your customers know, like, hey, if you really love the management that the client brings that you see when you're dropping your dog off at daycare, let me know and I can order you one. And same concept. If you're already purchasing them at wholesale from us, you can send them home with your clients. We have a lot of customers that will include them in the cost of programs. It's a little bit more centered on training programs, but we can always incorporate products into boarding services a lot easier as well. So take care. So some of the easy to offer enrichment services that you can offer for pets and pet parents would be that one-on-one enrichment session during boarding. So this is a dog that's coming for, let's say, a 7-day boarding stay, and they're going to get all of your regular daycare enrichment. But let's say their pet parents want to give them a little bit something more. They feel really bad about, going on vacation and leaving the dog behind. So they want to do more. So you can add, a $25, $35 enrichment add-on that is working on some climb behaviors or incorporating the propel and bringing some fitness kind of one-on-one time. And that, add-on cost is going to cover your staff's time in order to spend that 30 minutes with a dog. You don't really need to do a whole hour training session. Dogs learn in very short bursts. So, 15 to 20 minutes is a really intense enrichment time period for a dog on one-on-one. If you're going to do, 2 or 3 dogs in one enrichment small group, let's say per handler, then you can do 15, 10, 15 minutes per dog as a group. And then while one dog is getting worked on at one time, then the other dogs are hanging out on their climbs on the side, and they're kind of practicing impulse control. They're practicing staying calm while another dog is working. They're practicing just having a nice downstay. And when we look at what our pet parents really want, they want their dogs to be calm. They want their dogs to hang out while they're cooking. They want their dogs to just be able to be in their home without causing practicing chaos. And the more we can practice those calm behaviors in a daycare and boarding environment, we're only reinforcing that for when they go home, they can practice those behaviors as well. That one-on-one is also a really great structured decompression for daycare. So saying, you have those dogs that might be really high energy or too much energy for the rest of your play group. So I need to do more with that dog's brain before I can even put to play with everybody else. So we're almost doing decompression before play. And then depending on the dog, I might need to bring them back down from play after. So for example, we have a Aussie here at Blue 9. His name is Cork. He's 4 years old. He loves to play with other dogs. So before I can bring him into a play group, I very often have to do some quick, short, basic obedience stuff with him to get him kind of out of that like over excitement, get the brain going, and then say, okay, now that you're calm, go play. But then they get all riled up again during play. So before I pull that dog out to put him in his kennel for nap, I need to bring that brain back down. Again, getting into those quick, short, ask the dog to stay, ask them to like wait for handing them a cookie, get them up on the climb, have them get down, back off the climb, back on the climb. Just little things that we're asking the dogs to think, to do, that's really going to help bring those really high energy, high arousal dogs back down. And then adding on enrichment packages at check-in. If you're already offering like daycare packages based off of like I can purchase 5 or 10 days at a time, it's really easy. Hey, you're already doing a 10-day daycare package for the month for an extra, $4 a day, or whatever it breaks down to, 50, $60 total, whatever that daily rate comes down to, then say, hey, we're going to do a little extra one-on-one with your dog. That's where we're going to teach him the tricks. That's where we're going to do, kind of all those little extra behaviors, but it really isn't taking a whole lot of extra time from your staff.
I do want to interject here, Jess. What I like about the enrichment services is um, using them for dogs who maybe can't be in play groups. So I myself have a dog who's pretty reactive, can't be in play groups, but he does have to go to boarding sometimes. And the place that I take them, they add these extra services that I can buy for him to go have a little session using some of the products to just work his brain. So I know he's getting more than just a couple of potty walks throughout the day.
Yeah, and just not to be like so heavy on the climb, some of those additional equipment that's really helpful is having something like a dog treadmill or a slap mill or something that you can give those I don't want to call them special needs, but let's say they have a little bit higher need dogs, you can give them some outlet and attention. It was a great point, Caitlin. Thanks for bringing that up. Jump to the next slide here. And just a reminder for everyone that's joining us live, if you have any questions or want to interject or tell us something, please feel free. You can use the chat box or the Q&A option in the meeting. We're just going to jump into a couple features of the Climb if you're not familiar with the products. So the Climb only weighs 14 pounds, which is super great for facility use because we can use it not only as our training equipment, but I can also use it as my playground equipment. And because it's so modular, I can move it around and use the same equipment for multiple services. Each one is weight rated to hold well over 500 pounds, so no concerns with multiple dogs, humans standing on them. They're pretty durable and pretty solid. The legs unscrew and store underneath. So let's say you need to open up your play space and you need to get your products out of the way. Unscrew all the legs, store them underneath, and then throw your stack of climbs in the corner, and you're only taking up 2 square feet of space. And then if you're using any of them outside for playground equipment, so on and so forth, they are UV stabilized, which means they won't get brittle, they're not going to crack, they're not going to fade. Weather elements will not affect them compared to some other plastic products that are out there. What it's great for is on this for you guys really is playground equipment. Think of it as kind of your modular Lego set of playgrounds. I don't know, Caitlin, and I think now that I'm looking at it, we may have missed a slide of showing you guys several different configurations that we can do with the climbs. Caitlin, are you able to grab the YouTube video link and drop it in the chat box so everyone can watch that later? That might be helpful for them to have.
Yes, I will find that.
Thank you. So the Climb is great for that place training, that impulse control, or having it like around your play group so that dogs can lay down when they don't want to be in the hustle and bustle of play. Calming overstimulated pups, giving dogs a way out. So if you have a dog that might be a little overstimulated, giving them the place to get up and out of the play group will help minimize any risk of altercations because you're giving those dogs plenty of space, especially if you don't have the square footage. We're giving them some vertical space, which still gives them room to get out of a situation that they may not like. And then, of course, the confidence building and focus. You saw a glimpse of Caitlin's cute little moody pup, Cora, there.
Gotta love the computers.
Oh, technology is so much fun. So he's here with us. I see a couple names that I recognize, and I'm especially excited that one person's in here because that's where my dogs go to boarding. So thank you for being here. You can learn so much more about how the dogs will use the climbs and propels. All right, let's talk about propels because this is a kind of a level 2, let's call it, as far as enrichment. So this is great for the dogs that you want, that their pet parents want to continue doing more enrichment. So they have all the basics down. Their dog is really smart. He figures out all the treat puzzles, all the stuff. So let's add a little bit more, not just mental stimulation challenge, but also body challenge. So we can really start to exhaust the dog in a positive way. So bringing in an inflatable product like the Propel is going to do a couple things. Adds more challenge physically for the dog to be able to find their stabilization, and it's going to really challenge their brain to find the stillness. Because when we're working with inflatable products, I want my dogs to find stillness. So when we get them up on a Propel, they might be a little wiggly at first. You can kind of see me. And what I'm going to reward is when the dog finds their stability, right? So that moment of stillness, that's when we're going to start rewarding the dog. So it's really difficult for dogs to maintain that stillness. It's difficult for most humans to maintain that stillness and kind of hold that there. And this is like 5 to 10 seconds at a time, and then we release the dog when we bring them up, because when we're putting them on an unstable surface like an inflatable product, we're really challenging those finer muscle groups. So think of like your abs, their core, their hip flexors, those finer muscle groups that really need that instability in order to activate in their body. Just like a human standing on a yoga ball or sitting on a yoga ball, you're tightening your core, you're doing a lot of physical workout. So this is almost like sending your dog to the gym. So it's physical exercise without a lot of movement, right? So they're not running back and forth, which when all we're doing is playing fetch with our dogs or just letting them run, we're building stamina. We're building a dog that one day can run a mile and then the next day can run a mile and a half. And then a week later is running 2 miles, and we don't understand why this dog is not exhausted yet. So incorporating more like decision fitness, I guess, would you call it, Caitlin? Like of what the Propel does to the dog's brain and body.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, even if you think about, like when we're, and I'm sorry, you could have covered this because I was trying to find that video. But even if
That's
you
okay.
think about when we're trying to hold a plank, like your brain has to focus in so much more and control your body. So it's a lot. I mean, planks can be mentally exhausting too because you have to think so much about what you're doing.
Yeah, great point. Thank you for that. So again, this is a great add-on. If you have anyone on your staff that happens to be a CGC evaluator through the American Kennel Club through AKC, there is the AKC Fit Dog program, which is a really easy add-on kind of class that you can do. And instead of doing it like a group class, you say, hey, we're going to run your dog through the AKC Fit Dog program on a one-on-one level while they're already here for daycare, or do it in a small, 3 to 4 dogs in your daycare group, or working with one of your kennel techs or daycare staff or park attendants, whatever you call them. And they're doing all their own little like fitness class, and that's their enrichment for the day. So there's a lot of opportunity to have these like add-on services that bring in additional revenue, but don't take a whole lot of extra time from your staff because they're already with the dogs. Go to that next slide when you get a second there, Caitlin.
Thinking.
And then the balance harness is more of a just an overall quick. If you have retail space ready, it's a really easy add-on. It is the #1 rated front clip attachment harness to manage pulling behaviors and things like that on a leash. A couple of features: it has a buckle on the neck loop, so you can clip it on and off of a dog like a collar, not having to slip anything over their head. Excuse me. It's very customizable in the fit. There's 6 points of adjustment, and it does have a Y-shaped design, meaning that the dog maintains a full range of motion. I always had a stock set of these in my facility for when staff was walking dogs. Yes, we used slip leads for 90% of the things, but there was those really strong pullers, those really flight risk dogs, dogs that just needed a little extra more. I always had a set, one of every size balance harness available for in use within the facility for my staff to be able to use that. Or if they were going to take the dog on a field trip or a longer walk or something like that, then they would absolutely be walking out on a harness, not just on a slip leash. Um, Also, retail ready. It's a great opportunity to just put that in the corner of your retail space. Say, hey, this is the harness that we recommend for loose leash walking, for teaching skills, for tracking, for doing all of the things. Same concept. You guys are purchasing it at wholesale, sell it at MSRP. You're going to start making some money and some revenue off of the harnesses as well.
Wow, my computer's really slow today. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no worries.
There it goes.
All right, so we've kind of covered a little bit of these, but just to summarize the revenue strategies that we've been talking about is offering that climb and or propel based enrichment session during boarding. So this is an add-on service, add it onto their daycare or their boarding. Include it for treat games, impulse control, and guided play. So if you guys can see on that picture we have on the bottom left there, we actually have the climb upside down with the legs installed on the top, because that leg storage area is a great place to act as a slow feeder. So even if you just are like out of food puzzles and you want to give a dog a little extra enrichment or they need a little more, flip your climb over, sprinkle all your kibble in there. You could even throw a couple toys on there and make it a little bit more challenging for the dog to sniff out their food or their treats or whatever. And like we've mentioned a couple times, based off of your pricing, based off of where you are locally or your region, charge that 15 to 25. I would even say as much as like an additional $35 for those enrichment services as part of your daycare. All of my facilities were in Miami, Florida, so I could get away with a lot higher pricing versus like where I'm at now in Makokata, Iowa. I wouldn't charge the same. So be aware of that, your regional kind of pricing structure and build it in with your existing costing methods. Again, we're going to keep summarizing here. So how to sell the climbs to your clients is already using them in your enrichment activities. Very often going to get pet parents to say, oh, wait, like, what are you using again? I want to do this with my dog. Send them home with a report card, send them home with pictures of the products. And then that little note of, you want to do this at home with your dogs, let us know and we'll have it. Before we jump ahead, there's a couple things that I wanted to just like chat with about the climbs on alternative uses for them around your facility. And my favorite place to use them is in check-in and check-out reception desk areas. I want you guys to just think a moment for what your boarding check-in process looks like, or daycare process check-in process looks like. And if it was anything like my experience, we got a bottleneck from about 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. with everybody dropping off for daycare, trying to drop off for boarding, trying to do everything all at one time. And we were running into like traffic control issues in our lobby, if you will. So pet parents, as wonderful as they are, would come in with their dogs at the end of their 6-foot leash, bags of food in their arms, kind of all, all over the place, trying to do their best to get the dog to school, get the kids to school, get to their plane, whatever they were trying to do. And we found them just causing a lot of control chaos. So we actually added climbs into our lobby. So as the pet parents would come in, dogs went up on the climb, the dog is stationary, the pet parents can put their stuff down, they can talk to the human, your receptionist, trying to get, important information on feeding times, medications, whatever. And then your runner or whoever was going to take the dog was able to come and get the dog really easy and really seamlessly. Leashing stations around your facility. So again, if you're taking personal leashes off and hanging them up on a rack or doing something like that, where is the dog and all of that happening? A lot of times I found my staff was just like trying to like rein the leash in to get the dog to get harness on, and everything was like all over the place. So again, getting the dog up on the platform, the dog is stationary. It's going to be a lot easier for parents or for staff in order to swap out collars, harnesses, leashes, dry them, do whatever they need to do when the dog is up on a platform and stationary. I'm talking we're shaving seconds and minutes off of doing things, but when I'm shaving seconds and minutes off of doing thing per dog, I'm going to start getting a lot more time at the end of my day. That's time that can be repurposed to these enrichment add-on services, to deep cleaning fences, to chit-chatting with your customers and building that rapport, however you want to reallocate that time. When we start, saving minutes per day, it starts to add up to, time is money.
And the more that you're cueing the dogs to go on the climbs to get their reward, they're gonna get on the climb, and then their reward is to go into the play group. They're gonna get faster and understand what you want more, which is just gonna go back to that saving time. And then your clients are gonna see how well the dogs are responding on the climbs over time, which can also lead back to them going, "Hey, maybe I need that at home."
Yeah, absolutely. Or something like, the dogs jumping up on the climb when they come in the lobby, or they're waiting on their climb for when their pet parents come in, and the dog is just like hanging out like, hey, I'm on my climb. All good things happen here. And they're not rushing and jumping their pet parents. That's a really great saying. You're like, okay, I need this at home so that they're not jumping on me when I walk in the door or whatever. These enrichment services. So of course, using photos of the dogs during on the climbs during your play, short little videos that you can share on your social medias. These, today's enrichment star or dog of the day kind of stuff, showcasing the things that you're doing, or like the little like arts and crafts. Like one of my favorite craft enrichment days with the dogs is like the nose print flowers, or the like paw print flowers that you can do, and utilizing the climbs as like stations, or getting the dogs up there to like wipe their paws. Then you can have a little picture with them with their little nose print art sitting on their climb, like a little kid. Like, how cute is that? Hint, hint, Amber, for when my dogs come, I want some art for when they go to boarding next. Um, or create a simple flyer, something that goes home with the dogs. There's so many different ways to market. Blue Nine does have a pretty robust dealer Dropbox. So if you're looking for logos, social posts, things like that, we do share a lot of that with you guys. You have that to use at your disposal as well. So you can spend more time working on your business, not in your business. And I would say if you have someone that's a designated picture person, photography person, another great add-on services is that picture day, right? So you have a cute little backdrop. I see a lot of facilities that are doing this now. Dogs get up on the climb. You get a cute little portrait, for $15, we're going to print this for you. And you go home with your dog's like class photo kind of stuff. One more opportunity for you guys to ask any questions. Caitlin did get you that link for the different structures that you can use and create with the climbs, and also one of our favorite pet boarding and daycare facilities out in Chicago. How they utilize it within their facility. So if you have a couple moments, go check out that YouTube video. If you have any now or later, as always, feel free to reach out to us. there is all of our contact information. So if you're not quite ready and don't have the climbs yet, but you want to find out more about wholesale pricing, or you just have general questions, reach out anyway. Got anything else for us, Caitlin?
I think we have Amber typing real quick, and then
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
thank you, Amber. It was great talking with everybody today.
We appreciate everybody's time, and we will see you all very soon.